What's up, fellas? We back at it again.
What up? We missing one.
Yeah, I don't know if something just happened. Pete just dropped off, but we'll get him back in here. There you go.
There he is.
I don't know what happened, but we back at it again for our next perspective, another opportunity for us to connect and talk. I hope everybody is doing well, everybody's families is safe. Um, y'all got anything y'all want to say before we get the party going?
Oh, what's your perspective on this week, Parrish?
Forgiveness.
Mm.
Yeah, we had a little incident happen this week, but you have to have immediate forgiveness.
Nah, I ain't. My perspective is on transcripts. Get the transcripts out on time, man.
You like to get the transcripts going, huh?
He's shady. That's why he's talking about forgiveness, man. But he all good. I'm a forgive him.
All right.
That's what friends do, right? That's what friends do.
For those who are watching on Facebook, like, share. For those who are on YouTube, hit that link that says subscribe. We appreciate your support. Today, we're going to talk about an important topic that I think a lot of people will be able to relate to. We're going to talk about relationships and friendships, particularly how important is the circle that surrounds you. When you guys think of like your circle, friendships, relationships, how important is that into your everyday life?
You want to go first?
Yeah, that's good, man. That's big. It's like your parents always say, be careful of who be careful who you make your friends, right?
Yeah.
Something that everybody parents have said or grandparents whoever raised them. And it's really important because of course y'all like my brothers, and then we got some other guys that we've been knowing for a long time. And it's easy to brag about my homeboys. Everybody doing something good, everybody successful, everybody taking care of business. And then it pushes you to be your best you, as well as because y'all my real friends, y'all pull my car like Jeff, you tripping. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really important for people to keep you like a check and balance. You don't want to. People always say you want a lot of yes men around you, even though we agree on a lot of things. But you know what I'm saying? Y'all will be like, hey, bro, you trip. You need to go about do this, do that, whatever, or change this or change that. And I think that's really important to have people around you that do that.
Definitely.
I mean, I'll start with the simple stuff. Steel sharpens steel, and iron sharpens iron. So when you got people surrounded around you that are, on path to do some extraordinary things, I think it then promotes you to have to do the same thing. You can't stay stagnant. You got to continue to be like, well, let me push my brothers as well as allow them to continue to push me. So, you start to look at other endeavors and you don't settle. You start to do more. So I think that's what's good about having a circle, because if your circle is not moving, then that says a lot about what you're going to be doing with your life. But if your circle is continuing moving, then you'll find that you're going to be making moves in your life yourself.
Yeah. I mean, for me, our circle is unique, it's dynamic, it's everything, right? I mean, when I just look at the gang and how we move and stuff like that, we have people of all different levels of education, all different backgrounds, all different types of fields that we, all are involved in. And I feel like if any part of the saying of birds of a feather flock together is true, then, I'm glad to be a part of this flock. We definitely push each other to get to that next level. And it didn't all come, with glitz and glamour and a silver spoon. We got war stories, a triumph to get to this point. We got situations between all of us where, we've had uncomfortable conversations, like we've done the hard work to get to this point. Even today, when I was kind of like doing just some of the promo for, our episode today, I kind of called it a layback session because I feel like, honestly, my goal is that people get to see the chemistry between us, number one, and number two, just see that this is how we rock every day. Like the same stuff that we put out for Braspective, if it didn't go nowhere tomorrow, we'd still be doing this within our own huddle. And that's, to me, that's a unique and beautiful thing.
I think, relationships is one of those things, particularly friendships is one of those things that's very, it's underrated in the sense of how important it is into your life. I think so much of us take our friendships for granted because I think when you're young, you're just trying to meet people who like you, right? And you don't really think of like the longevity of that relationship and the effects that it may have on you. You know, when I was younger, you know, me and Jeff have been close, been my best friend since, you know, we were 12, right? So, you know, that's over 25 years of a relationship. Having a relationship that long allows you to really grow in who you are. It allows you to have people that's going to challenge you, but people who really know you, right? And they know when to give you grace, and but they also know when to kind of, you know, be on you and be in your face about things. And a lot of that breeds accountability. And I think that's one of the most important things about surrounding yourself with the right people. Or are you going to surround yourself with people who are going to hold you accountable? I always talk about in high school and how I had two different set of friends. I had Jeff and them and all my boys that I played sports with. Then I had my boys kind of in the hood that was kind of with the shit, right? Yeah. So the realities were that, you know, I was kind of figure out what lane was I most comfortable in, you know, and I think there was part of me that, you know, was kind of trying to be a little hoodlum, and then there was aspects of me who knew that I had more potential than that. So the realities were trying to figure out how to navigate in that space. I remember our sophomore year, and it was myself, Jeff, Drake, and I can't think of who the other person was, and I think maybe even Marcus. And I think we were at a track meet, and they started talking about college. Particularly Jeff and Drake were talking about college, and I'm thinking like, "Oh, y'all going to college? I guess I'm going to college too, right?" Not even really thinking about college in that way prior to that. Thinking about, you know, you think about it, but it's something that everybody said they're going to do, but not something that you really put into motion. And how just from that conversation, just from surrounding myself with people who wanted more than what Vallejo offered us, who wanted more than what our immediate environment offered us, I think it kind of pushed. So for me, that circle was definitely important because it allowed me to push myself in different directions.
So you said you was hanging with them people that was with the shit. Are you still with the shit?
You know, I still got some people that I hang with that's with the shit. One of my Braspective brothers on here right now, he's still with the shit. We ain't gonna call out no names.
That's hilarious. No, that's really important, man. I think even like simple stuff. He's talking about college, and it was like me and Tab was roommates for a long time, and then Paris was like working on his dissertation or something. I'm like, nigga, a dissertation? Like, you got a PhD for real? Like, the shit was so foreign to me. Like, bro, I got a real life, about to have a real life PhD, like somebody that's in my circle that I'm close to. And of course, you're in an academic environment, but a PhD, bro, for a black man, it was like, you only see it on TV or you hear about it, not that somebody that you rock with like that. So it was really pushes you to kind of, like he said, be a better you. It's crazy.
Right. I mean, because even in our immediate circle, as I'm looking at it, shout out to Parrish and to BJ. Those was like the first two people that we knew. It was like going after PhDs and stuff like that. It was like, you know, and I mean, I'll just speak on some of my experience of being in this crew. Like, I mean, now that we're a little bit bigger, you know, it's different. But in the beginning, I was the younger one. You know, I've always had a group of friends that was older than me a little bit and stuff like that. So I would say for me, it's being able to have us all in different age brackets, a couple of friends a little bit older than me, then a couple of friends a little bit older than that, so that I can see kind of like what's coming up ahead, right? Like, I've never had the excuse to not be prepared for anything the day is going to bring me, because I have people living through them experiences and giving me the game ahead of time. So I'm always, you know, in a position where 2020 is hindsight for the most part. I mean, there's always the things that you can't decide of your control, but just having a group of friends around me that's a little bit older and teaching me game, like getting me to get prepared for things that everybody in my age bracket ain't necessarily preparing for, has been, you know, pivotal in my life. You know, I mean, I look at some of the people in my age group, or just even back when we was in college, like I didn't want to date girls in my age group because it was like, nah, I'm seeing stuff way ahead of time, and I just didn't feel like I could find a match in my same age group. So I appreciate those moments for sure.
Yeah, I want to add that, you know, your circle does a couple things for you. It humbles you. That's one. So, you know, when I saw, you know, you with people who with the shit, it's not really that they with the shit and that you're like, I'm around them. It's just that it reminds you of like, dude, I made some strides in my life to know the difference and to make those educated decisions. So it's good to be around individuals with different aspects of life, because it helps you to make more educated decisions about what you want to do. So having a circle that's tight knit, gives you different perspectives. Like, yeah, this is what I got to do to be successful in my life. But at the same time, I know I can come to these guys and they're going to keep it real with me. And I ain't got to be, suppressing anything or any comments I want to say, because they're going to make sure, like, nah, that's not your real you. You front right now. Be honest. So that's another reason why it's nice to have a good circle, because then that circle really becomes your go-to. And I also want to add, a lot of times, I mean, how many times do you have a lot of black men that can just turn to each other to really give each other some good advice from so many different avenues of life? And that's something big, because if you surround yourself with the wrong people and you ask them for advice that they've never been there, they're going to be just as clueless as you. So it's nice to always have some different people in your circle that like, look, this is what I'm trying to do next. And if they don't have the answer, at least they know how to use resources to get you those answers. So having a good night in your circle makes a big difference, I think, in your life, especially if you didn't have no father figures that you really turn to. There's so many dynamics in just a good circle of friends.
I think, Pete, you hit it on a point. Is like, those people that you're able to be vulnerable with. And I think, there's definitely a difference between friends and acquaintances. But when you're talking about like true relationships, I mean, when you're talking about a relationship, it's something that you got to build. I think a lot of times you have people who they walk in and out of relationships because they don't actually understand what they're doing when they're building a friendship. The same investment that you put in a business, a marriage, your children, you put that into relationships, right? It's sweat equity that goes into it. It's money, it's time, it's energy, it's things of that nature. And I think that when you learn that you can be yourself and you can be accepted, I think that's really what happens. I think about my life and just how my friends have played pivotal roles in my life, it's like they've always been able to be there for me. For me, in particular, now as an adult, and as a therapist, people are always asking me, like, hey, you always seem to be in a good spirit. You always seem to be in a good mood. Things don't really bother you much. And I said, it's not that things don't bother me much. I have people that I can constantly be vulnerable with. If I have a rough day, if something's on my mind, something's bothering me, I can easily jump on the chat, jump on the phone, jump on a Marco Polo with y'all and start talking about it, get it off my chest, get feedback, and then we're going to laugh about it afterwards. And if it's really serious, I can jump on a 3-way, 4-way, 5-way call, get emotional and have that support. So I think the reality is your friends are important because they serve a balance in your life to kind of help you feel comfortable with taking risks, right? And remember, summer friendship is a little bit of competitive kind of back and forth, right? Career-wise, you look at your friends, you're like, oh, you doing good. I want to do good too. You buy a house. I want to buy a house too. You buy a nice car. I want to buy a nice car too. And I think that's where sometimes people get messed up in friendships. They feel like just because they have a friend who mimics them that, oh, they're jealous of me, or, oh, no, they're just envious. They see something that they admire that you have and they want it too. And I think that's where we have to start being able to make sure people understand, like, sometimes in true friendships, there's going to be some mimicking there. There's going to be some things where it looks the same or it's crossover. Because again, some similar minds attract, and similar minds may be interested in similar things.
And to add on to that too, what you talking about is not keeping up with the Joneses, right? Like we not, oh, you go buy this car, so I go buy this type of car. You go buy some shoes, I buy some shoes type of thing. It's actually just a competitive nature. Like the circle around me is winning, right? Like that's the trend. That's what's involved in this circle that we in right now, is just being winners flat out. So if prime example, I think I'm one of the last to really kind of get put on into that different tax bracket. And I just kind of watched all of y'all and stuff. And I remember being like, damn, like, man, I got to keep grinding. What am I going to do to get to this next point? Because it's not so much that you getting left behind, because I don't think we leave anybody behind. Everybody gets different types of ranges of money in our group, some more, some less than others. But I think it's more of just being like, when you feel that motivation and that energy within the circle that everybody is winning and making moves, you want to do that too. You want to do your part. It's a team, right? Like we all in here, when we get a chance to get on the court, we want to ball, and that may be monetarily, life-wise, parent-wise, relationship-wise, whatever-wise, community-orientated-wise, but that's the kind of like spirit that we put out there, a hustler spirit for everybody to start grinding and doing their thing. We motivate each other. That good luck and that stuff that y'all doing rubs off on the next person, and we keep it going until we recycle it and everybody's done it 2 or 3 times.
Right. Yeah, I remember me and Tab was roommates in college, it'd be like, I went to school already all day. So it's like 8 to 12 or 1. I come home like, Tab, what? You still sleep? Like, what you doing right now? It's time to do something, bro. You can't sleep all day. Like, so pushing each other to do, like, if you say you're going to do something, I want you to follow through with it. Now, if the plan change, let me know. But until that happens, I'm going to expect you to do a certain thing, right? I'm going to expect you to do what you told me you was going to do. So that's what I feel like in this group. If I tell you, all right, this is what I'm trying to work on, I'm doing that, everybody's going to push everybody that you say you're going to do something, I'm going to see you doing it. You say you want to go back to school, I'm going to see you doing it. You say you're going to do this, you say you're doing that, I'm going to see you doing it. So I think that's really important. Now, I think we got that in this group for sure.
Yeah. So I got a question for the group, though. So yeah, we surround ourselves with a good circle of individuals, but have you ever been in a circle where you're like, is something wrong here, or is it just me? And then you start to be like, man, I got to surround myself with new people, because I think we're saying how important it is, but I also I think we should let people know how important it is to recognize when your circle isn't right. And
yeah, I got a good story for you, right? So Dewan is the manager at Pizza Hut our senior year. I don't know how I became the Pizza Hut manager, but
he was slanging pizzas.
Some way he manages to be the manager, right?
The store manager, not just the supervisor. I was
he like the store manager, right? So he not coming to work one day, right? So I'm stuck in there. I'm making pizzas, answering the phone, doing all that. So he called me, right? And I can hear he in some kind of turmoil. He like, hey, blood, I'm in this city right now. They shooting. And I said, what the fuck you call me for? Do I got a gun? You supposed to be at work. Like, you supposed to be at work. Like, what are you doing right now? You got a baby on the way. You got a pregnant chick at the house. Like, you about to go to school. What are you doing? I could have easily been like, to show Dewan my love, I'm going to go find a gun somewhere and I'm going to retaliate. But that's not what I'm going to do. No, because you told me you wanted to go to college. You about to be a father. I'm going to hold you accountable to what you want to do. He didn't do that retarded shit around me. But I'm like, man, what are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be at work right now.
Hey man, somebody tried to shoot me in the face, and the gun, the gun didn't go off. Man, I'm blessed to be here.
Yeah,
I was scared out my damn boots.
All right, but how'd you get out of that circle though? What made you be like, oh, this ain't the circle I need to be in? And
people kept dying. I'd say it for him. People kept dying.
Yeah, that's the reality. You know, a lot of the guys, man, that I hung with, outside of, you know, my other circle, a lot of them, they're no longer here, you know, God rest their souls, you know, particularly Mike Sample and Rob Stafford, you know, they're no longer here anymore. And those were some good dudes, you know, they had circumstances in which led to them not being here anymore. But, you know, I think that sometimes you have situations happen where the other people, you know, that you hang with, they in jail or they dead. And I look around now, my other circle, boys got their masters, their doctorates, everybody's successful doing their own thing. And I think sometimes it's just being able to recognize for yourself, like, what space you fit in. And I don't always mean that those people aren't your friends, but what space do you fit in? Because I think sometimes it's not just about the people who choose you, it's also about the people you choose. When you think about friendships, a lot of people, they think, again, you know, we like each other, we good, let's ride together. But do I have a genuine positive regard for your welfare, right? Do I really care about your well-being? Am I there for you in your time of need? You know, when we were in high school, me and Jeff lived about 35, 40 minutes from each other, right? We lived on the complete opposite of town. I live in North Vallejo, Southeast Vallejo, right? However, picking each other up to go to school every day. Our school was in the middle. So he driving all the way across town to pick me up. I'm driving all the way across town to pick him up. We both just like, we're going to be late together because we was late. Senior year, we was late every day, right? Or most days. But it's still like, I got to make sure my brother gets to school. And I'll take the risk of being late to ensure my brother gets to school. But then that's a genuine interest or investment that you put into someone else. Some people have friends or claim they have friends, but they haven't really had to show up to show them that they're an actual friend. They haven't had to be there for them. They hadn't had to sacrifice anything for that relationship. And I think that's where you really know if somebody's your friend. Did they have to sacrifice, or did they have to really be there for you in your time of need? And I think that's where you really get it. You guys know I've had a daughter who passed away. And when I'll never forget this, you know, when they start singing that, you know how it is at a funeral. they start singing them gospel songs, man, you can't hold it in. And, you know, they start singing a gospel song, man, at the funeral, I break down, I'm crying in front of everybody. And, you know, all I feel is a shoulder to my left and my right, and that's Jeff and Marcus. You know, being there for you in your worst times of your life and showing you that, hey, I'm here for you, not only when it's fun and we laughing and we joking, not only when we outside fighting in the club, but I'm also going to be there for you when you're struggling and you're hurting. And I think those are the important aspects of really understanding who your true friends are.
Yeah, I'd say, like, growing up, to go back to Parrish's question, it was like, it's no disrespect. Like, I mean, growing up in Pittsburgh and stuff like that, because that's where I pretty much primarily grew up at.
P-World.
Yeah, P-World. It was, it's a small place though, where it's like a lot of people stay there, you know. And so for me, I kind of felt like, you know, like I said, it was like a black hole to me, where I didn't see a lot of people go out and do a lot of things. And the people that are there, you know, you got to be strong, survive, and thrive in order to make it through. And it's a lot of people, just like Jeff said, that's dead, in jail for life, murder, all types of stuff that was like sandbox dudes to me. You know what I'm saying? That just grew up with, walked home from school with, you know, just associated with. And my transition was, I left Pittsburgh High and started going to Deer Valley. And that's where I met Gary and Xavier. And it was kind of like, you know, it was just on a whole different wavelength than kind of what I was used to going to school in Pittsburgh my whole life and stuff like that. And I mean, the set of friends that I had, I learned a lot from them, but it was a season in my life, you know, at that time. And once I transitioned to Deer Valley, my life changed, my mindset changed, and things changed. And then I go on to college to meet you guys, you know. But I think one of the times that I really realized, you know, just one of my people really had my back is like, I ended up getting into a situation where it was a fight and I got shot at and some more stuff. And I think Jeff didn't find out about it till the next day, because it was kind of a situation that I was trying to keep close to the heart. And he was like, "Nigga, why you didn't call me and tell me what was going on?" And it was just kind of like, well, damn, I ain't never even really thought about it like that. You know what I'm saying? To just be able to trust somebody with, you know, different issues that I was going on in my personal life and things like that. I never really thought about that, on how you blend and mix them worlds. And I think once you have situations like that where you blend and mix those worlds with people, the conversations that you're able to have with each other after that point is hella, like, it's super vulnerable at that point. It's like, what can't we share together? And we know there's a situation in which Parrish had to come and help me out, where, you know, I thought it was going to go a little bit further than it was. And Parrish came to pick me up. And, you know, the way he picked me up, he came prepared for whatever was going to happen. And the whole thing is that it wasn't that he was even coming to just have my back like that. It was more of like, hey, I'm mad that you got yourself into this, but however you got yourself into this, we going to get you out of
it. Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it's funny how, like, you create those relationships. I know me, I'm super private. I'm super private. And I barely let anything out unless I'm ready to let people know. But like you guys are saying, it's those times when something happens that you're vulnerable, that you allow people in. And that's the hard part, I think, that we have struggles with, is to say, yes, right now I need assistance. And that's when, you know, you can turn to certain people, because when you can say out loud, I need assistance, and people aren't going to judge you, and then they can say, hey, this is how you get it done. I think that's how you start creating that circle. I think that's where I know I grew, when I can start turning to certain people and say, I just need somebody to lean on at times and hold these conversations. And I can say the first person I reached out to when I had like some vulnerable situations was Jeff. He may not recall, but one time I was in a hard little spot and I was like, man, this is what's going on in my life. I'm gonna need you for about like 15 minutes. And he was like, cool. And then that made it just a big change. And I was like, all right, there's people that I can hold on to. And as we're all saying, I think there's pivotal moments that take place that allows you to know what your circle is looking like and who those individuals are.
Well, let me ask you guys this question then. Why do you guys believe some people struggle in friendships? Because I do think that there is an aspect of people who have big circles, and it's definitely quantity over quality. We may so happen to have a big circle of friends, but I think a lot of those relationships have been vetted. But the reality is the quantity is going to matter more over the quality. But I think there is a lot of people who just don't have any friendships, any close relationships. They don't have anybody that they quote unquote call their best friend. Do you guys feel that is problematic, or why do you feel like those people have trouble in relationships?
Oh, I'm gonna go in first on that because I've seen it happen in different levels of life. I think outside of what I do for a living, I think my circle gets pretty well diversified. I see survivor's remorse a lot with people, where like out of a group of people, one person has made it and they don't know how to separate that where they've made it at in life and their success to where the people at are that they still associate with. So they feel super responsible for it. And I've seen survivor remorse play out in a couple of different circles in which, you know, I'm closely associated with. And then I've also seen within some of those dynamics too, that sometimes you just have like this circle of people that are close with each other. They've experienced like trauma and triumph together, but they also are crabs in a bucket. Like they don't want to be better than their situation and they don't know how to, and they don't promote each other to get out of those situations. Right. And I find that to be like the saddest one. The survivor's remorse I understand that one. But when I've watched situations where people are just crabs in a bucket and the circle is toxic and nobody really wants you to get that much better, you know, that's the part that really, I think, bothers me. And that's especially like, I mean, particular for me, that's like when you hanging out in the hood or when you hanging around the hood, it's like you see all these people that, you know, maybe cousins or related or might have each other's back for different reasons or whatnot, but they're not necessarily promoting each other to get to that next level. And for me, I've always been attracted to circles like that. I find that the hood and what the talent and the brain and the uniqueness that comes out of the hood, the intelligence that comes out of the hood is like no other. But when it comes to just that crabs in a bucket mentality, it's also its biggest hurdle in getting to that next level in life.
Yeah.
So, but my question is, when you have those kind of, do you leave those people behind, or do you, like Dewan was saying, I created two different circles of friends that I confide in, and I think what you're saying is, yeah, you still engage with them, but you know their purpose in your life, and I think that's the second piece that I want to speak on is knowing the roles that people play in my life and why one circle is probably a little more tight knit than the other circle, because yeah, where you come from defines, you know, what your foundation is. But then, like you said, you got to college and you met a whole different set of individuals that put you on another trajectory. So now you start to create those divides, but you know what your core circle is. And I also want people to know, like, you know, your core circle, but you also know that you can create other friendships outside of that that's long lasting, that's going to be benefit you in the long run. I think that's another thing that a lot of African American men don't think about. Like, you can let certain people go and still continue on with a new set of friends that's going to get you to where you want to go.
Sure.
A lot of, oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say for sure, that's the survivor's remorse thing is real. Y'all know I'm from inner city LA before I moved to Vallejo. And my first cousins, they with it. So they about whatever you want to do. And I've lost first cousins because they about that lifestyle. And it's like, I'm not with that. I will fight and all that kind of stuff if I have to, but I'm not with the street life. Because I know I got a calling like in this lifetime. I got to do something with this lifetime. Right? It's short. It can be short. It'll be gone tomorrow. But the time that I do have, I know I'm not going to spend it doing things that negatively impact my family, negatively impact my community, or anything like that. So no knock to anybody that has to live the street life. But I know it's not for me. So I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I have to do that because I'm not that. I'm not going to lie to myself, nor I'm going to lie to the people that's out there doing that. I'm not one of y'all. I don't move in that space. So I'm not going to do that. But I think the reason why people struggle with friendships is everybody has, I wouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people have attachment issues, right? So they're not really close to their parents. They're not really close to their siblings. They're not really close to these people. And since they're not close to anybody, they can just say, well, fuck it, whatever, you know, I'm done with you. And I can move on to somebody else. Like it wasn't important to them because they don't have important relationships. But I think when you have important attachments to you, then you can see like how important that person is. I can't be your everything as your friend, but this one thing I'm going to be me for myself. I know I'm a reliable friend. So whatever you need, I'm going to just be reliable. I can't be all the other stuff, but you're going to know like Jeff's going to be reliable. So I think that's why people have a hard time and they struggle with relationships because they have issues with attachments.
I think that's a key factor. I think you and Pete are speaking both to some important things. I think you talked about the attachment aspect of that and how if a person doesn't really have close relationships, maybe they are avoided which means they avoid relationships from the fear of being hurt, or they're dismissive, which makes them feel like they don't really need them for relationships. A lot of times what's going to happen is those people struggle because in relationships, as soon as a person does something wrong, they get rid of them, right? Because again, why would I bring you into my life to hurt me when the reality is any relationship is going to have its ups and downs. It's, you know, relationships are really defined, how do you make it through the hard times? Not just when it's good, how do we make it through the hard times? And I think that's important. P, you spoke to something that I always talk to people about. It's about recognizing the lanes of friendships. I think there are some people which we may call the everything friend. I tell people all the time, you have an everything friend, right? That's your most consistent friend. That's the friend that you can call to help you move. That's the friend that you can call to borrow money from. That's the friend you can cry on the phone with. That's a friend you can go to the club with. That's a friend you can take family trips with, right? They fit every lane that you need in relationships. The problem sometimes happen is we don't know the difference between a friend who just serves a role. Maybe that's just a friend you go out to the club with. That's their role. They're not the friend that you can ask to borrow money from because they'll let you down. They're not the friend that you can take a family trip with because they'll let you down. But that friend is consistent when you want to go out and have a good time, they're available. This other friend over here may just be the friend that anytime you're in a financial need or you need to sleep on a couch, they're available. But may not be the friend that you go and talk about your problems to. Sometimes we struggle with recognizing the difference between a friend who could fit all those lanes that are open, all those spaces, right? Because again, most friendships stem from voids that were left from your family, things that you didn't get met in your family. So you find friends to meet those voids. So the reality is you have people that they're an everything friend, right? They feel like, hey, I'm the type of friend you can borrow money from, you can hang out with. I feel like as a friend, I'm very consistent. Like you need something from me, I'm there. I help you move. I'm going to do these things. But I also have realistic expectations of people. I don't expect people to be the same type of friend I am, right? I don't expect that. I expect them to be the friend that I chose them to be for that reason. Meaning that if you're the friend that I want to hang out and kick it with, I expect you to be consistent in that because that's your role in my life. The problem is a lot of times people who are everything friends, when they don't get that same friendship in return, they feel like, oh, well, I'm out here by myself. Forget people. People, you know, they're always letting me down. And I think that's where we struggle is people need to be able to have realistic expectations of the people around them and stop choosing people to be their friends who don't want that job. Because the person who wants to be your friend in that role, they're going to always show up. The person who want to be the family event friend, they're going to always show up to the family events consistently with their potato salad or their macaroni and cheese because they feel like, hey, I want to be a part of your life in this way. So we got to recognize the people that we have in our lives and the roles that they play.
Yeah, and it's when you said that too, I was thinking about like, and that plays out a lot on social media. You see people talking about friends ain't friends and da 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 da, or you know, I can't trust my friends or I can't trust my family and stuff like that. But for me, I look at that like, damn, like I find it weird and awkward to me, and it's no knock on them because I don't have that type of relationship with friends where I'm still questioning that at, you know, 34 years old in my life. You know what I'm saying? We've been through that. But I also wonder because people don't have clear, defined relationships for those type of friends and people that they're dealing with, if they've not been through some of the stuff that we've been through. Like we can get on here and talk about the triumphs of being in a great circle and stuff like that. But we have all had some level of like turbulence that allowed us to be like, you know what? That's my dog. You know what I'm saying? Like without having to even go into too much detail, we've all been there with each other where it's like, you know, because this is one of the things that I find unique, right? And I give a prime example of even how it plays out like in my life or in my household. If I have an argument and I come and talk to my boys about it with my significant other might not think that I told my boys exactly what I said and how I said it. But for me, I look at it like these dudes really know me, you know what I'm saying, to an extent. It ain't even no reason to bullshit them. Because if I'm calling to get advice from them or tell them my problems outside of my household or in my bedroom, I'm going to make sure that I tell them exactly what I said and how I said it, because I need to be checked for what I did wrong and redirected. And I also need to be reaffirmed for what I'm doing right so that I'm not losing myself in that. And I think in order to get into a position like that, we've had some moments of conflict and vulnerability that allows us to get over that type of hill. That people really, maybe they haven't went through that in their lives, you know, maybe they shield themselves from that type of friendship and they're, like you said, situational friends, so they don't really know what that's like. Because I know who the squares and the suckers are that this around us. They might not be our, you know, we're like family, so it's hard to really just call us friends in this one. But we have the other people that are around us, and we know who the, you know, some people are shaky and some people are suckers. It's just the truth. And so you know who those people are, and it's not that we don't deal with them. I just feed them a spoon with a long handle.
I think. Oh, go ahead, P.
I was gonna say, so it sounds like there's what I call those fair weather friends.
Yeah,
like you got friends that you know you can be consistent with, but then you got those friends that you know they're gonna circle around every once in a while for certain reasons. And I think that comes down to when you have to have the security within yourself to know that's what those roles are. Like, I know that this person is definitely my fair weather friend, and they're gonna hit me up at these time periods in my life. And you just got to know when to either allow them to be there or you just keep it pushing. But I think Dewan was speaking on it, like when you know the voids that you missed out in your family and you have people who pick those voids up, you know the extent of how you're going to engage with them in that way. I think that's big. That was, I think, a big comment that I think needs to be echoed. From those voids, you make certain decisions, which is phenomenal.
Think about this, P. So I lived in Oklahoma for years, and I wasn't going home consistently for holidays, right? So I would only go home for Christmas, but I wasn't going home for Thanksgiving. So what ended up happening is in college, me and my boys, we used to do this little Thanksgiving because everybody's from Cali. So as we got grown, we started that tradition. First, it started with just Jeff and them coming up, Jeff and Candace coming up every year. Even when they lived in Austin, you know, when they lived from Austin to Oklahoma City, that was like 6-7 hours, right? Consistently, they was coming up, making that drive for things. Son birthday party coming. Thanksgiving every year coming. And now that's created a tradition of friends. The void of not being able to go home for Thanksgiving was replaced by my friendships, by our relationships, and being consistent in doing that. Again, we have our traditional thing at Taft House every year. Taft get everybody together, come together, have a Christmas party, right? We get together, we laugh, we have fun. Again, some of us have that with our family, but some of us don't have that. So then we do it in our friendships. And I think a lot of times that's where you see those friendships becoming important. Taz spoke to something else, though, that's also important when he talked about trust and how you have somebody who they're always talking about they can't trust people, they can't trust people, they can't trust people. I understand that there are going to be people in this world that hurt us, but sometimes that's more indicative of a problem because, yes, there are going to be people that aren't there for you, but you should have some people that are there for you. You should have a circle. You should have some people that you can say, hey, these are the people I rely on, right? Because, again, life is about being able to be more optimistic than pessimistic. I think it's looking at the glass half full instead of half empty, because what happens is people are going to let you down. People are not going to always be there when you expect them to be there. The problem is if you're so quick to write them off because they didn't show up for that one time, but they were there, even if they didn't show up 10 times, but they were there 90 times. Are you holding the 10 times against them instead of looking at the 90 times where they were there? And I think that's the reality is sometimes we you know, whether a person says something behind our back or whether, you know, we got into a physical fight because, you know, man, we may fight regardless of what the reason is. It's about managing conflict. And I think that's where you see people struggling in friendships. Is they don't always know how to manage conflict. For them, conflict is a sign of rejection, or it's a sign of you know, I got to protect myself. When the reality is life with anybody in any relationship, any type of interpersonal relationship, it's about how you manage that conflict, right? Me and Jeff argue, me and Tav argue, me and Pete argue, Eric, Marcus, whatever. The next day I could easily say, all right, what's up, bro? What you doing? You know what I'm saying? And, oh, you mad? All right, whatever. I'm going to pull up to your house anyway. And I'm coming to your house. You mad? Whatever. We just going to be sitting on your couch mad. Yeah. Because the reality is the relationship matters to me too much for me to just, because you mad, now I'm going to act mad, when the reality is I'm not mad, you mad. I'm not going to act mad simply because you're acting mad, when the reality is I value the relationship. And I think that's the thing. I tell people, I done had a lot of my friends try to cancel me, but it's like, Are you gonna try to counsel me? You mad at me about something? Nah, you ain't mad. We'll get over it, because the reality is, for me, if I value the relationship, then I'm willing to fight for the relationship. If you can call somebody your friend, then that means you're willing to fight for the friendship. If you're so quick to dismiss them because something goes wrong, then I think that's why you see a lot of people struggling with the friendships in general.
Yeah, no, that's important. I learned that in college. Like me and Tav, I might have just had graduated. Me and Tav went through this like for a month. We fucking argued with each other on the phone. I don't even remember what it was about. That's how
I don't even remember what it was about either. But we was not for real. Like
with each other for like a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
I talked. Bruce was like, "That's my stepdad." He like, "Bro, you tripping?" Tav like, "Yo, real homie, like you tripping?" And I'm thinking back, and then it was like New Year's. I'm in LA hanging out. Like, damn, I couldn't even call him with my nigga. Happy New Year. I'm tripping. Like, if I'm like, I'm trying to go back to the drum board. Like, man, I'm tripping. I'm gonna call. First thing I do when the New Year come in, we talk to each other like, bro, we tripping, man. My bad. I don't even know what we arguing about. And it's so trivial. And people will lose their solid friends over something so trivial. Like, to be honest, I really don't know what we was arguing about.
I don't remember what it was about neither. But fast forward, I mean, he's the best man at my wedding, like hands down. But Dewan would do little slick, sneaky shit. Like what Dewan would do is he would get on Call of Duty when we would all log on, and I would only play with him when he was on, and he would only play with you. So he'd make us play together. So that everybody has to get cool again. Call of Duty again, and I'd be like, "Well, how I find this?" And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, Jeff know how to do it." Oh, you gotta do it. All right, yeah, cool. So I had to do stuff like that, but I mean. In reality, though, I mean, look at that, though. You know, it's some people right now that's in same situations like that is not friends anymore. It's people that didn't have fights over dice games with their friends. It's people that didn't shot their friends over stupid money, like $5, $10, $20 bets. I mean, like, so, you know, there is some level of growth and elevation in everything that we're doing and what we're trying to preach today, because the same things we laughing about and we fast forwarded and we've made it and triumphed through, there's people that have had tragedies through that can never be fixed, that have broken families and broken relationships forever, you know?
Yeah. So in this kind of conversation, it's kind of the same conversation I had with my son. And I give him this speech. This is exactly what I told him. I said, you get one life. You don't get to do this over again. This is not like Mario Brothers or any game you play. Once you're gone, you're gone. You don't get to restart. This is it. This is the only time you get to do what you're doing. So every hour, every day, this is the only time you're going to do that day. You're never going to do September 13th at 8:00 again, 2020. This is it. So I tell them, like, the guys you engage with or people you engage with or the times we spend together, this is the only time we're going to have this time, because it's never going to come back. And once it's done, it's done. So you got to make the appropriate decisions in regards to who you want to really keep close to. And like Dewan was saying, you fight for that. If it's right, you fight for that. You don't just let that slide, because 10 years later, when somebody's not around, you can't be like, man, you know, I could have made it right. It's just too late. You can't circle back now. So this is pivotal, because like I tell my son, you get this one time. This is the only time you get to do this life. So take advantage of these friendships that you create.
Yeah, people be stubborn, and you know, I think ego gets in the way, ego and pride. You know, are you willing to pick up the phone and tell somebody, hey, I'm sorry? Are you just willing to just pick up the phone and call somebody? Because sometimes that's just a repair. Sometimes people don't even need to say sorry, like Jeff said, like Tav said, like, all right, we all on the game together. Jeff ain't leave, Tav ain't leave, so I guess we good now, right? Because ain't nobody leave, right? Sometimes it ain't about sorry. Sometimes it's about like put people in a situation where they can, you know, get to a point where they're like, okay, I miss you, and go on. And I think that's it. You know, sometimes we have to recognize what we're doing. And somebody on the chat made a good point. Monique actually said it, and she said, look, sometimes men can stay friends forever, and it may not be the same for women. But I also think it's really about your ability to like repair and overlook things. I think that you have to be able to be willing to give people grace in life. And I don't know necessarily that I'm not going to be able to say that men tend to give men give more grace than women, but I would say that sometimes if you see that there's a stereotype that women don't have a lot of friendships, or they don't know how to, you know, keep friends for long periods of time, then they have to look at themselves and figure out, okay, what am I doing that's not allowing me to go through the ups as well as the downs that go along with friendships, right? If something is just giving me ups, then that's cool. I'm just riding the wave while it's good. But if I'm not willing to be there when somebody's down, or she didn't call me out my name, or she didn't got mad at me, or she didn't show up to my birthday, or or whatever. I see her talking to my ex, in a friendly way. Now I don't know, no wrong stuff, but in a friendly way. I think a lot of times you may find sometimes women are quick to cut people off when the reality is you have one life. Do you want to spend your life not being happy, not surrounding yourself with people who love you, just because, again, you're angry about something that's minor? We have to be mindful that I don't want to spend my life. I always tell people, man, I deserve to be happy. I don't like drama. I don't like BS. I only got one life. I've been through enough hurt in my life. So I don't need anything that's going to bring me hurt, but I'm also willing to do my part and manage any friendships or relationships. If Tab mad at me, I'm like, oh, Tab mad? I'm going to call him like, oh, you stupid. You mad? Why you mad? Right? And he may want to cuss me out because I just called him stupid. But the reality is he going to cuss me out. And then I'm going to say, all right, so you cuss me out. You good now, right? You ain't mad no more. And just because I say that, Tab's going to be like, you know what? I can't even be mad at him because he's so stupid. He's so dumb. The reality is we have to be willing to repair those relationships and not allow the people you care about to go 20, 30, 40, 50 years without talking to them. Like right. Eddie Murphy and Martin in life.
Well, I think what you said, though, from the beginning, just echoing through the comments you just made, if in your family dynamics you never was taught how to address that kind of void, then how do you carry that over into a friendship, or how do you even try to mend something if you've never been taught how to do that correctly? You know what I'm saying? So you're like, man, hey, I learned over time how to deal with, when I'm upset with somebody, I'm just going to confront it. And it's like, how long you really going to be mad at me? You telling me we really can't work this out? And I don't think a lot of people have that dynamic taught to them in their family and then transfer that into their friendships. So I think that point that you just made is big. If you can't learn how to do those things, of course, there's going to be an obstacle that you're going to have to learn how to deal with.
And I think that's the part that just to even go back to it again, that like is intriguing to me about the whole hood environment, right? It's like in those trenches, they go through some shit together. You know what I'm saying? Some things that they may experience even more frequently than we do. You know what I'm saying? Just from the dynamics that comes in at a living environment. But yet, when you think about them and them going through those situations, it can also be something where they can't necessarily turn the corner or big each other up and stuff like that to get to that next level. And it's just amazing, because I know when just based on some of the stories that I've heard that, it gets kind of crazy sometimes. And they've been through some things that really build and break. I mean, they really build bonds with each other because they're all still here. I mean, I remember just looking at it from a standpoint of like when I was young, trying to get on, not a police officer, trying to make it and stuff like that. I didn't have moments where I didn't have nowhere to stay or I didn't stayed in my car. And literally, I didn't have to go in no detail about that with Parrish. And Parrish is like, well, what you going to do? Okay. All right. Well, when you get off, just slide to my house. And I get there. It's a key. It ain't really know how long you staying, what you doing. This is what it costs or nothing like that. It's just to do what you got to do to get back on your feet. Like, I mean, them moments, you know what I'm saying, built like stepping stones where it's like if anybody calls me for anything or if he calls me for it, I'm going to put everything down for that, because in order to be where I'm at today, I got to look at who was there for me in the trenches before I was even able to get to that point. That's why I say it's family, not a group, but I just look at people that go through these tough circumstances that are life changing. They lose people together and it's like, damn, and y'all can't help each other win, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's like sneak dissing and hate going on. Like we got to start really looking at these things that we go through with people, these wars that we go through, this psychological warfare that we go through just to climb out of that bucket. Because we ain't no different. We was once crabs in a bucket and we still crabs in a bucket. The only difference is that we actually, if one of us has got their claw on the top of the bucket, the other one is holding the other one's hand and the other one's claw and the other one's claw. And we all about to get about that damn bucket together, And it's like, I wish that everybody could look at things like that and have that same mentality when they're out here rocking, because we all come from the same circumstances, the struggle and trying to get, to make it.
But Tab, so I think that's the point though. Like we're like that. There's a lot of people who So for me, I always say this. I've always said that I want to see all my friends win. I want to see everybody do better than me. That way I ain't got to worry about them and I can just focus on myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they doing good, then I can just focus on myself. So I'm going to do anything I can to help my boys get wherever they need to get, right? You know, we always give each other advice about, hey, try this, try that, right? Think about that. You got people who claim to be someone's friend who are not giving them any feedback or advice to help them win. They're not participating in their dreams. You know what I'm saying? They're not sharing things that they may, you know, post on social media. And the reality is you don't have to share everything they post, but every now and then show your boy some love. Little things like that to where it's like, do you want to see me win or not? So that's the reality. There's a lot of people who they have people around them just so they can grandstand them. So they can be the big homie. So they can look down on everybody. They're not trying to pull people up. We talk about like LeBron James, right? And how he has his friends in all pivotal roles in his life, right? One of his boys is his manager. The other one runs his company. The other one is his agent. You think about that. He didn't just say, oh, yeah, I'm going to give y'all shoes and let y'all drive my cars, which we see a lot of NBA players do. They, instead of them sending their boys to go to school, like, hey, bro, you really smart, man. Let me send you to law school. While I do this NBA thing, I'm going to pay for your law school. And when you get out, you can be a sports agent. Or, hey, man, you really good at cooking. I'm going to send you to culinary school. So when you can get out, I can introduce you to the owner of the team. And maybe you can start a business and your business can, you know, be the team's official catering service. Like how many people are in that position, particularly NFL stars, NBA stars, that they rather be the big homie instead of pulling their boys up so their boys can have their own. It's about teaching your boys how to fish, not fishing for them, right? You teach them how to fish, you give them, and when you have the resources, you may get them a fishing rod. You may give them bait. And then you may tell them where's the good spots to go.
Yeah.
So now they have all the resources because you had extra resources. A lot of people, they hold on to that and they don't want to see because they're so afraid of somebody outshining them, somebody chain being bigger than theirs, their Benz or their house being bigger. And I think that gets in the way of a lot of friendships.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. When people start to focus on what somebody else got going on instead of just saying, hey, let me big up you and just help me out, they start to lose vision of what they need to work on. So that's how I kind of approach all my friends. Like, hey, if you're doing something great, I'm going to be the biggest supporter behind you because I'm supporting you do great. That gives me time to think about what I need to do to make myself great. Instead of worrying about how you did it or what you did to do it or who you connected with, I'm like, nah, just do how you doing. Tell me what my role is in that. Because as I start my endeavor, hopefully I can get that same in return. You can't continue to, worry about what John's doing if you ain't got your own stuff in order. So I fully condone what you just said. Yeah, if you got friends that need resources and you got the resources for them, shoot. Allow them to have it. It's not going to hurt you in the long run, will it?
Right. Yeah, a lot of people like you. They want you to eat off their plate instead of just being like, "Hey, bro, the kitchen over there. Like, go ahead and get it." You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird.
Get your ass in there and make your own food. It's
yeah, it's over there. But what's that paid in full?
Mm-hmm.
Is the street still gonna love me? Is the street still gonna love me? That's how a lot of like if I stop winning in whatever capacity you feel like you're winning in. Are y'all still gonna be my partners? Are people still gonna love me? Or am I still gonna get the women or whatever it is? But a lot of people are failing to just be great in whatever your role is, man. It's like basketball. Be great in your role. Everybody can't be LeBron. But I'm gonna be the best dude that shoot these threes from the corner. When LeBron passes me the ball, I'm gonna be ready. You know what I'm saying? So be great at whatever you feel like is being great for you. So
and that's just to jump on what you said too. It's crazy. It's like when I was going out there and I was working at my last place, y'all know it was a little more turned up than where I'm at now. People used to always be like, man, that's dangerous. Or just in general, what I do right now, they'd be like, man, that's dangerous. How do you do that? I'd be like, and it's not, I hope it don't come off the wrong way, but I don't, if something happens to me out there and I don't make it back home, my son is good. I mean, he doesn't have his father I can't be replaced, but he's got a great supporting cast around him. He'll make it. He'll be fine. Like, so when I go out there or I got to go walk in a room that might be more dangerous than I want to, or approach somebody who's more dangerous than the average bear, I'm not really thinking about like, damn, what if I don't make it back tonight? That's not one of the first thoughts that pop in my mind, because I'm like, bro, the supporting cast around him, this little dude gonna be straight regardless. Like, and you know, that allows me to go to work with a different type of carefree attitude that most people, you know, don't. Like, I don't be thinking, well, damn, man, what if I don't make it back to my son? Or what if I don't make it back to my daughter? She's in college, she needs advice. I don't worry about none of that stuff, because she got a great supporting cast around her, and he does too. And when you have friendships like that, man, I mean, I don't worry about if I get fired or not tomorrow. Yeah, the streets still gonna love me. The gang, I don't care if the streets love me. The gang gonna love me. I ain't worried about is all my lights gonna get cut off the next month because I can't pay for nothing? Man, they'll pass the hat for me. I pass the hat for them. Like, that's just how we rock. It's not a question. It's not a thought. That's how it's gonna go.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. That's how we rock, and I think that's the understanding of, if I need somewhere to sleep, I know I can always go sleep in Jeff's house. I know I can always go sleep in Tab house, P house, Eric house, Marcus house, Derek house. I know I always got some, and I think about that. Like, think about how important it is, because we started this conversation with how important your circle. If I know if I take a risk, right? Let's say I have a business idea and I put everything on the line and I fail. Well, to be honest with you, I know I ain't gonna fall too far, because I won't be out on the street. I ain't gonna be out on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine Jeff seeing me out on the street downtown, and he ride by me like, bro, you straight? Nah, he'd be like, man, you better get in this car, bro. Come to the house. You know, you better come to the house. You hungry?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You hungry? You remember Antoine Fisher, when he found out his boy was out on the street? Yeah. He's like, man, you hungry? We got some spaghetti.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you do. You don't let your people that you care for struggle in that way. Obviously, people got to go through their own struggles, but the reality is, I ain't gonna let you struggle too hard, because I got resources.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm gonna share my resources with you, and I think that's what allows real friendships to really blossom. Is, man, like, I know that I can count on these people to be here for me. I know if I got a flat tire, and I'm in the middle of the Dallas and Houston drive, and AAA ain't answering, ain't nobody answering, I know I can call somebody and be like, hey, bro, I'm 2 hours away. I got a flat. Could you come get me? And he gonna be like, he gonna probably be mad, but he gonna come. That's what the relationship is. He gonna come, because again, it's like, I want my people to be straight.
It's funny that you bring that up too. I'm just thinking about, and that was a buzzword for me, is Houston. You give a prime example. The gang been going to Houston for like, what, 4 or 5 years now. That's like a trip that we've been taking for at least 4 or 5 years. Because I remember we was going, and Taft wasn't even born yet. He was coming like 6 late months down the line or something like that. I remember being in positions where we didn't plant this trip, and now it's time to go. And I'm broke. I'm broke. Oh yeah, I'm broke. I'm about to literally go to there, and I'm broke. I don't got nothing. I remember one time in particular, it was the time we went to the Rockets game. And now we got to go to the Rockets game. We got to eat. We got to do all these things. I call y'all like, man, I mean, I can go, but I ain't got no money. Everybody, man, get your dumb ass on the plane. I didn't miss no meals while I was there. I didn't miss no entries to the club. I was able to still, pass the cup with everybody, and I was able to still go to the game. And we plan for each other like that, right? Like I said earlier, not all of us is in the same position as each other. So when we start taking these trips together, I'm going to have my money ready to go now that things have changed, but I'm also going to have some reserve for whoever else might not have theirs. Because that's what we're going to do. If you then committed to go somewhere, or we going somewhere together, your experience is not going to be no less than mine, because we're already, that's how we rock with each other. If I'm in VIP, you in VIP. If I'm going to the game, you going to the game. If I'm getting bottle service, then that ain't my bottle, that's our bottle.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to full circle it, back to the original piece, is like, how important is your circle? And I know we're given various aspects on how great our circle worked out for us, but I think what we're all saying at the end of this is that your circle are people that you can rely on, and you can really vibe with, and there's no questions nor judgment. I think that's the key word we didn't talk about too. My circle's not judging me, and Dewan gave a perfect example of that. I put everything on the line for this endeavor, and it doesn't work out. you don't hit me over the head talking about why'd you do that, why'd you do that, why'd you do that. It's more like, all right, how can I get you back on your feet so you can do the next endeavor?
Right.
And I think that's what's big about our circle is that you can go ahead and shoot your shot as many times as you want, and if you fall, I'm gonna be there to pick you up and get you back on. And just like I'm helping you, I'm helping your family too. So like with Taff, when he was like, man, if something goes bad, I know my son at the end of the day is gonna be like, hey, I need to hit Uncle Jeff, Uncle Pete, Uncle Dewan for these some perspectives on what I need to do next, and they're gonna be there. So I think that's another thing that's big about the circle of friends we have is that you can fall down and nobody's judging you. We're just gonna help pick you back up and get you on the right path again.
Yeah, it allows you to swing and swing for the fences, knowing that even if you fall or if you strike out, somebody gonna be there to pick you up.
And in some aspects, that's bigger than some family, and that's big too. Like some family is gonna be like judgmental on you, but if your circle is right, nobody's judging. They're helping you out.
Yeah, it's all about those lived experiences. I think having people on your side that not are only going to support you, that are also going to correct you when you make mistakes, right? You know, if you know we say something or we go bad on our wives, you know, we could pick up the phone and be like, man, this is what happened. And everybody gonna be like, bro, you tripping. Like, you know, go apologize or go do this. I think that's the reality is, you know, people that's gonna hold you accountable that you know they genuinely love and care for you. I know if Tav tell me something, it's from a good place. He ain't telling me nothing that's gonna put me in a situation where I'm gonna hurt myself. He giving me the best advice that he can. He giving me even better advice than what he may take for himself. Right?
Big
you know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna do what I'm gonna tell you to do.
That's the reality. You know what I'm saying? Because he like, nah, I can't see you out here bad like that. It's really having a, like I said, it's a unconditional positive regard for the welfare of your friends, meaning you love them unconditionally, right? And when they make mistakes, now again, you outgrow people. You know, you may have friends from high school that are no longer your friends in your adult life, friends from one job that are no longer your friends in a new job. But I think having those relationships help you. Again, you got to know when to cut people off, but then you got to know when you're cutting people off too quick too. Because if we are constantly falling out of relationships because people making decisions that we disagree with, then that means we're judging them.
Yeah.
Right? That means we're judging them. And we don't want to rock with them no more because they didn't do it the way that we wanted them to do it. Well, then they have their own life. They got to live with their consequences. I can still support you. I tell people all the time, I ain't got to agree with everything you do. I may not even like what you did, but I'm going to still support you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, look, you know, Taff a police officer. Taff on the news, they done got Taff beating up a black man. Oh, God. Oh, no, right?
It's hypothetical, though, bro. You need to say that you're saying hypothetical when people start looking for that clip on YouTube.
This is a hypothetical. This ain't happened. I may not be, I may not support what he did. I may not support, you know what I'm saying, that he out here, you know, with the gang of police, then ran up on somebody and now they on YouTube and on the news doing something to him. But while he's going through his suspension from work or whatever happened, I'm supporting him and I'm gonna be there for him, right? And I think that's the reality. It's a hypothetical, bro. It's a hypothetical.
You saying Taff can hide out your house when the news camera's all in front of his? Okay.
Hey man, hey, he can hide at my house. You know what I'm saying?
When they come looking for me, and you got to be like, "This 9532 Brady Drive."
Hey, that's classic, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that. So you know, I think having these conversations is always important. I think recognizing the importance of relationships. The reality is, we all need people. For people out there who say, "Hey, I don't need nobody. I'm better by myself." The reality is they probably have been hurt by people, and so they're afraid of putting themselves back out there. But we are social beings. We are not meant to be out on an island or be isolated by ourselves. Everybody's seen Castaway, right? Tom Hanks went crazy and ended up forming a relationship with a volleyball. Wilson, the volleyball was Wilson, right? Because we are normal as people. We are social beings, and having friendships and relationships is important to our development and our growth and our ability. When you look at people who suffer from depression, the biggest combative to depression is socialization. So when you look at people who just constantly suffer from chronic depression, severe depressive disorder, things of that nature, a lot of times you can see that they don't have really any close relationships that they rely on. They're not allowing people to pull them out of their depression, because the realities are, if I'm having a bad day, You know what I'm saying? Jeff gonna be like, hey, bro, we about to go to the gun range. You about to do something. Your friends pull you out of that. The people that you trust pull you out of those hard times. So that's why forming those relationships are important. You guys got any parting thoughts for the audience before we jump up out of here?
Nah, man, just don't give up on people so quick, man. Especially some people that you had a relationship where you feel like they were really good to you. Don't give up on them so quick, because we all are flawed and we all have issues. We're just trying to be our best. But then when it comes down to it, if you got to say my bad, then you say my bad and shit, leave it at that.
Parrish, what you got?
Oh, I was gonna say that what you just said is very important. You never do anything by yourself. You always got a group of friends that somehow, somewhere, in some way helped you get to where you're at, whether it be your immediate family or somebody you ran across with that just gave you that good advice. So keep your eyes open to those people that give you that, because that's that group of friends you probably want to start with.
I just want to say a couple of things. Number one, shout out to all of the people within the circle that we didn't get to mention today. I don't even want to get into a whole bunch of names because I don't want to leave nobody out. I mean, we got from, older dudes to younger cats, but everybody that know they role in the circle, because we hit your line, we call you, we need you for stuff, you there for us, you got our back. The other thing I want to say is thank you for everybody who is tuning in and watching us. Our mental health episode last week had over 1,000 views. I mean, that's crazy. Like I think we had like 1,200 last time I checked. Please tell your friends to like, subscribe. We still getting our feet under us. If there's a topic that you want us to talk about, like Candace wants us to talk about, just drop them in the Braspective, Facebook page or on our IG, and let us know what you guys out there want to hear us talk about, or what topics you want to hear us cover and discuss. We all ears, man. We here for y'all here for us, and we appreciate that. But and shout out to the gang, man. Everybody that's on right now, man. I mean, I'm looking around and I'm just, man, we doing well, and we're gonna continue to support. Hey, y'all ever think we gonna come to a point where we don't rock with each other no more?
Nah, I doubt it. I don't even think that's possible. I think it's really about our ability to repair a relationship. We didn't all have situations where we'd have been angry or bothered with each other by something that's happened. I mean, our relationship is proven. And again, do we get rid of 20 years, 15 years, 30 years of relationship simply because there may be a year when we're not seeing eye to eye? I'm not going to do away with a 20+ year friendship because we got a year where we just not seeing eye to eye and it's all bad.
Yeah.
And again, that's the realities of things is, not jumping on the wave when things are good, being able to withstand the storm too. Look, some of the strongest foundations could withstand the earthquake, a tornado, a blizzard, a hurricane, a wildfire. They can withstand it. And I think that we have a strong enough foundation that allows us to withstand the storm. So I doubt it. Before we jump off, I wanted to tell everybody, echo what Tab said about, like us, subscribe. We appreciate all the support, especially the consistent people that we get. I know we moved to a later time, to accommodate everyone's schedule. So everybody who's been supporting us, like us at Braspective on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, help us get our YouTube numbers up. Share this to your friends. You have strong, educated Black men who are just talking about our experiences with life and the different things that we go through on a day-to-day and how those can impact our well-being. We hope to see you guys. We'll be back again in 2 weeks at the same time on Sunday. Everybody enjoy their Sunday. God bless to you and your family, and everybody be safe.
Peace out.
Dang.